So absolutely no pressure for me whatsoever after those 3 talks. So I'm Claire Penny. I spent an inordinate amount of time in IBM, 19 years. I was staying for 2, stayed for 19. I worked operationally in the real estate division and then on the technology side as well in the smart building space, and did a lot of leadership type stuff within IBM. Then I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to join Invercara and focus on digital twins. And digital twin for me is an absolute no-brainer, simply put, because why would you not want to know what you have in your physical asset in a digital format so that you can interrogate it and look at it and explore it and have actioned insights on it, etc. So for me, it's always been a no-brainer. So joining Invercara was an absolutely great opportunity for me and one I'm lapping up. So I am the Director of Global Partnerships, so I look after the people who want to build digital twin applications on top of our platform. Because Twinit.io is not a product, it's a platform that people can use to deliver their own services. So are we just pressing these buttons? Oh, there we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is try and not make this salesy, but try and articulate the value of digital twin and why it's important to look at digital twin for all built assets moving forward. So, why digital twins? And there's numerous reasons around why we should be using this data from design, construction, right through to operations. And the 3 speakers ahead of me have all given really good use cases around this. So, we've got net zero carbon, we've got wellness, we've got the cost of operating the assets. And they will, and I truly believe, deliver new business models for the AEC industry. So we all know, and we've all spoken about decarbonisation, the built environment. We know the numbers, anything from 39 to 40% of CO2 emissions from the built environment. We've all got to take part in this journey to reduce that. It may be too late, who knows, but by 2030 we have targets of around 80% decarbonisation. Then buildings are not built normally for the fun of it. They're built for a purpose, and they're built for people to use. So we seem to have forgotten that along the journey, that that's a reason the buildings exist. So we have to consider the occupant and the occupant's wellness and comfort and how they interact with that building, how it makes them feel, how it makes them be able to deliver the tasks at hand, or the fun or whatever it is within that building. We need to focus on that. We've also got structures, and if I just talk about buildings really, that last a very, very long time, right? You don't normally build a building for 10 years and then knock it down and then build another one, right? They're normally around for a very, very long time. So how do you ensure that the health and the life expectancy of that building is actually happens? So you've got to understand how you can ensure that you can extend the life of that asset so you don't have to knock it down and rebuild it back to the carbon. You want to make sure its performance is on point and is as commissioned for the second point there, for comfort and wellness, and so it's not costing you a fortune. And also you don't want to be operating a building that's costing you an arm and a leg, although Mickey may love it, for reactive maintenance, because it's just going to be too expensive and then you're going to mothball it, right? So all of this, you've got to make sure that this building is operated and is usable and is functional for as long as possible, as cheaply as possible, without costing the planet. And then also, absolutely, building safety. We have really taken our eye off the ball, right? Putting aesthetics above people's safety is anyway, needs no words, right? We've got to make sure that buildings are safe, structures are safe, and understanding and having the data to be able to prove that it's safe, to take this seriously and say, I can prove that this building is safe, is also paramount. So then we have a challenge, right? So, naively, you could say all buildings are the same. They've got floors, they've got walls, they've got ceilings, they've got windows. What's the problem here, right? Surely they're all the same, so this is really simple. Well, they're not. They're really unique. They've got different systems in them. You've got manufacturers of flooring, it's different components, everything, right? I won't go on. But the specs of everything within a building is different, which makes each building unique. And then on top of that, you've got IoT devices that are all different. You've got platforms for this, technology for that. It's all really different. So it's easy to say all buildings are the same. That each one is unique, so one size does not fit all. So buying a product for one thing won't suit the next thing. So you have to take that into consideration. And therefore leads me on to that a digital twin needs to be customizable. You need to be able to flex that platform to fit your needs. What are your needs? What do you have? What information do you have already? Can you still operate a twin with the level of information you have and documentation and data? It needs to be composable. You need to be able to adjust and flex the twin to enable you to personalize it for each unique state. So, this being a BIM conference, it's like we need to talk about the beginning of the journey. So if I talk now in the context of a new build and how the foundation of any digital twin and really any technology solution is the data. You know, it's like rubbish in, rubbish out. We all know that. So you have to have really good data that people can trust, because I absolutely guarantee you the minute somebody doesn't trust your software platform or your software application, the minute somebody doesn't trust it, it's gone. It's over, right? Because it's given them really bad advice or a bad output, and it's gone, right? So you have to, the base of this is the data. So you need to, and it's a little bit cliched, but you have to think about the end. You have to understand, what do you want to do with this? Where is the journey for me? Where's the end of this journey? And so that comes with strategy and planning. So number one is the key to success, and then you back from there, you say, okay, what information do I require? What must I have? What would I like to have? From there, then you've got your BIM process, so your BIM data management, right? Using the 3D models, using all the tools that are now pervasive within the industry, using those tools and ensuring that you have defined the right data sets and right information you want, that you've classified it correctly, and that you have validated that it's correct. You have to do all those three things. You've got to make things machine readable. To Mickey's point, we want to automate as much of this grunt work as possible so that we have machine readable outputs that technology can then suck up and use. Machine readable on trusted, validated and confirmed data, good quality data. Then what we have then is we have an asset twin. Once we've done all of that and we've classified and we've tagged the data and we have a beautiful model and all the rest of it, we have a beautiful asset twin that we can use on day one for handover. This is your digital building manual that you can hand over to the client, and you can walk away at that point if you want. They've got a usable, searchable, interrogatable digital manual of their building that they can search and download information and find out about each and every asset or element, be it a maintainable asset or a non-maintainable asset, whatever anybody wants, they have it there at their fingertips. Then beyond that, and where it really gets interesting and where we really pull out the golden thread is that, and to Mickey's point, is then becomes a dynamic tool. You can then integrate with your BMS system, your energy meters, your IoT system. You can get feedback from end users, and then it starts to be a living, breathing thing, a behavioral twin or a performance twin. And you can start to really then understand, does this design work? So I always give this example of a building that I was unfortunate to work in. It was floor-to-ceiling glass, very beautiful, won lots of design awards, architectural awards, but it was cooled by chilled beams. So when the sun came around every single day and shone through for hours on end, everybody passed out at their desks, right? Because it was like too hot, you couldn't breathe, you had to leave it, right? Not good, not a good design. So feed that back in and say, look, if ever you do this again, floor-to-ceiling glass, don't use chilled beams because it just doesn't work. So then what you've done then is you've kind of twinned your world. Well, actually up to the asset twin, you've twinned your world, and you only do this once, and then you can build applications on top of it. And a project handover, you have this twin that somebody else can go on and use then, or you can use yourself, or the client, whoever owns the twin can go on and use that and deliver many, many use cases, right? So many solutions. Once you've twinned your world, once you've got all the data classified and in one spot, you can then build applications on top of the digital twin to deliver any number, and I've just selected some use cases here that you can deliver. And it sounds like motherhood and apple pie, ooh, woo, happy clappy, isn't that great? But it's true. You actually can do this, and we do this for clients and partners. They enable them to do their net zero carbon calculations, even down to embodied carbon. Right? If we get the information from manufacturers of carpets, of steelwork, of everything, why can't that go into the twin? It can. If we can understand the carbon, if the carbon's captured at that stage, we can put it into the twin, you can calculate your embodied carbon. Operational carbon, no-brainer. We can just connect to the energy meters, the BMS meters, we can tell you how much CO2 operationally you're using in your facility. If you think about ESG and the requirements of ESG, there's things called, who's heard of material banking? Anybody heard of this? Yeah, a few people. So material banking is this lovely old building here. I have to knock it down because maybe it's not fit for purpose anymore, it's unsafe. But how much steelwork is in here? Is there a value for that steelwork? I need to know that really quickly so that it doesn't get thrown in the skip with everything else when it's demolished. So there's a value in that. So this is how we then decommission this building. We are a little bit more careful with the steel. I can sell that on, is that there's a price to that. I knew of a client who way back had to decommission a terminal of an airport, and it was going to take them 2 years of surveying to understand what they had, because they didn't know what assets they had on the books that they needed to account for. Legislatively, regulations-wise, they didn't know what they had. They didn't know what hazardous materials they had. So this is not just about building buildings. This is about end of life as well. What do I do? What value is in this structure that I can actually take out? And what do I need to be really careful of because it's hazardous? How do I dispose of things? All of these questions can be answered if you have a digital twin that has been managed and fed into throughout the life cycle of the building. And you can start at any point. Obviously, you're not going to be as data rich if it's an existing building, but there's still data available and information, and going forward, you can build on that and understand how that building is working and operating. So, to break that up, so BIM to twin. So a digital twin can help you monetize BIM beyond construction. So BIM is a little bit fragmented, and people kind of do it for their own purpose, and it's driven a lot of value within the industry, but I think has been said earlier, it's still not really there, that this is usable. This is a usable asset that the client has beyond construction. This is valuable information. Don't throw it out because the building's built. Use it, move forward with it. But again, you've got to classify and validate that that information is correct that you have. So, day one operational readiness. So if you have an asset twin, like I said, you've got this digital building manual of your facility, right? You're ready to go on day one. Right, everything, you've got digital witnessing, everything is commissioned, you've got all the O&M manuals, you've got the warranty information, all there ready to go day one. Happy days. None of this in and out, taking 2 years to commission the building when everybody's working in it. Okay, so you have a unified system of records that can be easily accessed. And then in terms of the operations twin or operational performance, the performance twin, it goes on then. From there, once you've twinned your world, and you keep your data up to date, and you have your whole data management side of the house squared off, then you can start to build your own solutions and deliver services around ensuring that you have, for the Building Safety Act, that you have the correct information at your fingertips to show and evidence that you are within compliance of the law. Golden thread of information, building on that constantly. You ensure that you've got wellness and comfort, because you know if it's too hot, too cold, too bright, too noisy. You know all of that immediately. Net zero carbon targets. And we've got a talk after this one on this. Andrew and Tom are going to deliver that speech on net zero carbon. It's people are, spouting, I am going to be net zero carbon by 2030. Okay, how are you going to get there? I'm going to save energy. Okay, how are you going to do that? It's like great to say it, and lots of companies are saying it's really good and they're really up for it, but like, show me. How are you going to do this? Show me how you're going to, what steps are you going to take starting today that's going to get you there? Like, you need to understand what you have, how things are operating, how much energy are you using today, what do you need to replace first, do you have the budget for it? All of that information you need in order to achieve those targets. And then there's obviously, you can reduce your if you can extend the life of the equipment within your building, you can reduce your capex, because you don't have to buy a new boiler, you don't have to buy a new chiller, because you understand that although although, you know, it might be out of warranty or it might be like 10 years old, but it's running brilliantly. It's running brilliantly. And this brand, this make, I'm going to buy it again, you know, because it's such a good make of chiller that why wouldn't I? Because I know that because my twin is telling me. And then obviously around OpEx, in my past life, you know, just having information from equipment, either via the BMS or directly from the equipment, to understand how that equipment is running can save you time on the time it takes to execute a work order, and also reduces your reactive maintenance, all within your OpEx. You know, depends on what contract you've signed with the CBRE, but you know, getting rid of the reactive maintenance will reduce your OpEx. And then to square it all off, or to round it all off, if I understand how my building is operating and how much it's costing me to operate that building, when I do go out to tender for facility management services, I can say to the people who are competing for that bid, look, this is how much maintenance it takes, this is how much it costs, this is, you know, how many hours we spend, all of that information, so that those companies can bid accurately, not bake in like millions of pounds of risk into it, but they can actually bid properly because you understand how and what it takes to run your building. So all of this information at your fingertips. So I have a video too, but oh, there we go.
The Icon Digital Twin is a virtual building, a data-rich model where all information can be easily accessed and analysed. Asset information and real-time data help building operators quickly resolve issues and make better decisions. The digital twin is a single pane of glass that brings together asset information, energy data, air quality metrics, and more. Powerful dashboards allow users to focus on the information most important to them, such as our sustainability metrics. Detailed energy metering and equipment performance monitoring help reduce electrical consumption. On-site solar generation provided 15% of Icon's energy requirements in the last 12 months. Kingspan's products, solar generation, and renewable energy procurement have helped Icon minimize its carbon footprint. Rainwater harvesting has helped save more than 180,000 litres of water this year alone. The digital twin alerts the operator that there is a temperature issue in the facility. The operator can easily locate the issue in the facility and investigate the systems that serve the space. The digital twin displays the specific equipment responsible for the issue and provides detailed asset information and real-time readings from the BMS. Complete product traceability data is available, providing an unbroken thread of information back to the manufacturing data. Icon is a living lab that comes alive through a digital twin integrated with IoT devices and a BMS system. Information is continually gathered about all aspects of ongoing building performance. With new insights into thermal performance, digital twins will help us create products that perform better. Icon will inform new solutions to integrate traceability data to digital twins of our customers' sites. As a single source of truth, Icon's digital twin delivers 1. It streamlines operations with access to contextual information on building equipment and systems. 2. It uses data to facilitate a highly efficient and sustainable building. 3. It enhances occupancy comfort and wellness by monitoring and regulating indoor air quality. The Icon Digital Twin is built on the Twinit.io platform from Invocara.
Okay, so just in terms of the outcomes then, I mean, a digital twin, it can deliver improved ESG ratings, you've got your net zero carbon, you can delight occupants, you can focus on building safety, ensuring that like you have traceability, so if something does go awry, you know exactly where that element is in every single building that you've ever built and recall it ASAP or retrofit really quickly. You've got your reduction in CapEx, so you extend the useful life of assets and equipment, and you've got your data-driven decision making, and then the reduction in OpEx as well, which comes around operating an efficient and well-run building, reducing energy with real-time monitoring, and proactive interventions, which reduces labour costs. And that was me. Thank you very much.